All right, so we got to see some more McCorkle Jones. Always fun to see these young players play in the preseason. It'll be even more fun to see them play in the regular season. But given how well Cam Newton played, that might not be happening, at least not right away, because Newton played very well himself. Mac Jones came in, and I thought he looked pretty good as well. It was another good performance, is what I would say, from Jones. Now, there's a couple things that I would like to see him clean up. I saw that in the first game as well. But as a whole, he showed me more good than bad. It was a good amount of just confirming what I already knew about Jones in this game. But still, his numbers, 13 for 19, 146 yards. That's what it ended up as. Solid numbers, better than last week's numbers, even if the game, last week was probably maybe, I would say about as good. And also, both of those games had last game had a couple of drops. This one, a big drop with N'Keal Harry. So those both factor in. So yeah, let's get into the film study. Let's talk about some notable plays from Mac Jones's preseason week 2 performance, or I guess technically week 3, because week 1 was the Hall of Fame game. It's confusing, but his second preseason performance. So we'll start things off with this play. This was his first real play of the game. It's 3rd down and 13. It's going to be zone coverage, and N'Keal Harry is going to run a route that's going to try and drop into a gap in coverage. So this is what's interesting about this play, though, and the reason why I wanted to bring it up is this is a classic Mac Jones thing of he's, again, what people always talk about him is his high IQ, right? That's a big thing people talk about. And he's going to make a smart decision here. Look how, right when this play starts, he is not looking towards N'Keal Harry. He is looking somewhere else. He's looking towards his right, maybe towards the middle of the field, but not towards Harry. However, this is what Jones can do well. He can make reads well, and that's what he's going to do. He realizes this, and watch what he's going to do. Gets over to another read and finds Harry. Listen, is it the most difficult play in the world getting to a second read? No, of course not. And if any, top 20 quarterback in the NFL made this play, it's not notable. But the reason why I bring it up is just a lot of rookies struggle with this kind of thing. Jones does not struggle with this kind of thing. He is very comfortable. So just a small thing to start us off. I also like something like this. One thing that I feel like people don't talk enough about with Jones is his quick release. And it'll really be shown off, how important that is on this play. It's a zone coverage. You see the route. The zone coverage is actually going to be a little bit further deep, but, than you see on the screen. But regardless, watch what happens. So, look, it's right around here that you see that Jones could make this throw. This is right now when Jones realizes, okay, this is open. This is realistically about when you could know that it's open. And what I talk about is, a quick release allows you to make that decision even quicker because it obviously takes less time for the ball to get there. So even someone like Jones, who, people have talked about, doesn't have the biggest arm. I think that's fair. He isn't Trevor Lawrence for sure. He isn't Zach Wilson, but I think his arm is big enough. But also, watch how quick he's going to get it there. I mean, look, very quickly, pretty accurately, maybe you could argue that you don't want to have your receiver fall down. I think he was trying to get him to go down there, so that's why he threw it there. But still, the quick release was the impressive thing. Very good stuff there. And I want to talk about this for a second. I thought he showed off his pocket presence and mobility pretty well. I think it's an underrated aspect of his game. Let's be honest. He's kind of a chunky-looking white guy who doesn't run a fast 40, so people are going to expect him to be like the worst athlete in the world. And again, he's not Justin Fields. No one's going to accuse him of being that. But just because you're not Lamar Jackson doesn't mean you can't use your legs to have a positive benefit. And I do feel like Jones is a pretty smart runner, and he does, understand how to use his legs as part of his game, similar to how, the Tom Brady comparisons keep happening. It's unfair to put Jones in that, to put Jones in the same breath as Brady, because Brady's obviously the greatest of all time. But, just using the comparison of Brady was, a legend at being someone who isn't very mobile naturally, I think that's a good example of just showing his mobility. Now, there was something like this. I got to be honest, there were a couple plays where I thought that, like that last one where I see, you could have seen, maybe throw the check down there instead of running the ball, even though, again, it's a good part of his game. But maybe you could just throw the check down there. there's stuff like that I did see in this game, which, he's a rookie. He has to learn to grow. He has to figure out what tends to be open more often than what isn't and things like that. And I saw him at times look like a rookie. The 2-point attempt was a good example of that. It's going to be zone coverage, and you see the concept that he's going to look towards his left. That's where Jones is going to look towards, which, again, pre-snap, that's his decision. Okay, I don't know how the Patriots like to run all of their plays. Maybe this is what they want him to do. However, look, right when this play starts, so he's looking to his left, and, you can't see it on this angle. There's no separation right here. Whereas if he were looking to his right, there's multiple guys open. And to me, this is the time when you get off that first read and try and find something else. That's what I think the top tier NFL quarterbacks do. And I feel like Jones probably could have found a different receiver, try to find someone more open. But again, part of this is he does come from Alabama, where they had, a lot of good receivers who would basically be able to win these one-on-one matchups all the time. So he's just going to have to learn that, actually get past the defense, right? What do people always talk about with N'Keal Harry? Oh, he can never create separation. Well, he's got some separation right here. This is perfect. Great job by Harry to get open. And for Mac Jones, one thing I talked about a lot is the fact that people keep bringing up he doesn't have the best deep ball. Well, people bring up he doesn't have the best arm strength. Well, he does have a great deep ball. The deep ball is very good. It's very accurate, and he's shown that off in the preseason. And as you see, it's perfect. Harry dropped it and then even hurt himself on the way going down, so that's unfortunate. But that's a perfect throw. You can't ask for anything better than that. That's exactly where Jones wanted it to go, and it's nice that the Patriots should have that as a part of their game, as long as they can get a receiver who can catch that, who can catch a ball like that consistently, which, they have Aguilar, who catching isn't necessarily his strong suit, but is someone who is great at getting past the defense, so that could be a great connection. I could see that. Again, looks like it's Cam Newton's team, so it's kind of a moot point for now, but I digress. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought about Mac Jones. Is he was good. He did some stuff that I was impressed with. Again, I thought that one of the things about Jones too that's, I don't know how you quantify this. Looks very calm. Looks very ready when he's in an NFL uniform. I thought there's a lot he did well. A couple things he needs to clean up, but as a whole, this was a good performance. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.